Is it? Yep, that's on. We're live. Kia ora, g'day, welcome back. It is, what is the time? 12:48 on Thursday. So not expecting anybody to be on this live. It's just the way it is, just the timing of it for me. But there's not usually a lot of people on the lives anyway. So on here, because we've got some questions that have come through, and I figured I'll just answer these here and now. And it's probably a good thing that there's nobody on this live at this time anyway, because people will be at work. Minimize the amount of questions that may or may not come through. Mind you, in saying that, I don't mind the questions that come through anyway. So anyway, let's jump in. I've just copied and pasted these questions from various people that have reached out for quite a while actually, and it's taken me a little bit of time to get back to some of these, and some of them are more recent. I'll start off with this recent one. Hey Joe, what are your thoughts on the Henry Nowak? Nowak, sorry if I'm saying the name wrong. Thoughts on the Henry Nowak murder in the UK, particularly the terrible actions of the police to handcuff the young man as he was dying and not believing him when he said he had been stabbed. Yeah, sad, man. Like, I don't know what else to say. Like, that's my thoughts on it. The video footage that has been released, the bits that I've seen anyway, where it seems like the police officers that are there are questioning him. Or first, the murderer is there talking about how, I think he said he got attacked and he had his turban pulled off, and the police asked him if he had any injuries, and he goes, "Oh, I got this on my eye or whatever," which didn't look like anything. While Henry was lying on the ground, I assume, I don't know how many times he was stabbed, 5 times or something like that. I think I might have heard. Maybe it was less, maybe it was more. Sounds like it was unprovoked, and no doubt he would have been, yeah, lungs punctured, probably other vital organs. It's yeah, it's sad. I don't know what else to say. That's my thoughts on it. Angry with regards to what happened. Yeah, probably a bit of anger and frustration personally towards the police, but I think that's normal. Those particular police that were there that evening. From the footage, you know, I couldn't see any blood or anything anywhere from the footage that I was looking at. Anyway, maybe there's other footage. Could just hear the young fella Henry saying that he couldn't breathe, that he had been stabbed, and I think one of the police officers said something, doesn't look like it, mate, or something like that. Anyway, a sort of dismissive, almost dismissive comment. So as a result, you know, it's not surprising that there's a lot of people up in arms and that over there, and protesters and anger directed towards the police and stuff over there in terms of what's happened. Yeah, sad in terms of what's happened, and not only for the young man Henry who's lost his life, and from what I believe or understand, I think he died in handcuffs. So they cuffed him even though he was lying on the ground, wasn't posing a threat. Couldn't move. I don't know what sort of checks they were doing. I couldn't make that out in the video footage, but yeah, tragic event in terms of what's happened there, and the murderous blinking prick that did it. I don't know what his name is, but played it well in terms of whatever it was he's trying to do and talking to the police, convince them that he was just an innocent victim who was defending himself. Yeah, but anyway, I don't know if that answers your question, bro, but that's my thoughts. Very, very sad in terms of what's happened. And yeah, I don't know. Hopefully justice happens anyway for that bloody prick who murdered young Henry. So anyway, that's that. This one's come through. Second one, random question. Oh yeah, so this one I copied and pasted off one of the comments that was on, I think, one of my reaction videos to the Australian selection course itself. So this person's got random question, Paul Kale. So 2 Commando guy. I've seen some of his stuff a while ago now. But yeah, Paul Kale, I know his name too. Like, I'm pretty sure he was already in 4RAR, as it was known at the time, 4RAR Commando Unit, when I got there, or before he was already there before I got there. He might have already been, maybe he was a corporal, a lance corporal or corporal. pretty sure I think he was in one of the rifle companies. He wasn't in Recce Platoon where I went, but I remember hearing the name Paul Cale anyway, while I was there at 4RAR at the time. Anyway, it's got a random question. Paul Cale once said that the guys who failed the SASR selection were the most determined on the selection course for the commandos. He said for some it was their only chance of maybe being considered for SASR selection again, yeah, possibly, and others it was their last chance to get to an SF unit. Is this true? Yeah, maybe. I don't know if it's. I don't know if it would have been considered their last chance or their only chance of being considered for SASR selection again. I don't think that would have been the case. Why do I say that? Because I know of people that were in 6RAR, 1 and 2RAR who failed selection on their first attempt. We went back to their units and then they went back and did it again and then passed. So I don't think that part's or that part of your comment or question is fully accurate, because you don't have to go to a commando unit. It's not like a last ditch effort that if you fail SASR selection that you go to commandos and that will be the only way that you get considered for the unit. That's just not the case. The units recruit from all corps, Army, Navy, Air Force. So yeah, not just from the commandos. That's what I would say to that. If I'm interpreting the question right, I might not be. And then you've got, and others, it was their last chance to get into an SF unit. Is this true? Again, I don't know that that's true either. I haven't heard, I don't know what Paul Cale said specifically, so I'm reading this, based on what you've shared. I don't think if people fail the SAS selection, that going to commandos, I don't think that's their last chance, unless you're looking at it from the perspective of they want to serve in SF. They don't want to just serve in the regular unit that they've come from. Then it's either the commandos in Australia or SASR if you want to be in that SF environment, or the Special Operations Engineer Regiment, who are attached or support the SF operations overall. So there are other ways, I suppose, to be attached or support staff or be involved in that SF space, depending on the skills and what you have and what you're able to do. And then obviously there's the operator route, where those that want to be kicking in the doors and doing the work and all that sort of thing, then they've got to pass the relevant selections, which in Australia now is a combined selection for both commandos and SASR, in an attempt, from what I understand, which I think was one of the recommendations from the Brereton report. Don't quote me on it, but I think it was, in an attempt to bridge the gap between SASR and the commandos because of the, I don't know, what do you call it? Competitive nature of the roles. I don't even think it's that. They're two vastly different roles for those units. And I think I've heard the comment saying the commandos are the sledgehammer and the SAS are the scalpel, so to speak. So, depending on which camp you sit in, they're both SF units at the end of the day. They're both full of incredible people. That's my experience anyway. They're both highly capable and good at doing their jobs and their respective roles and what they are engaged for and what they're selecting operators for those particular units. And, they've proven themselves in the global war on terror. Even before then, well before then, their reputations have been proven. And the work that they do and the reputations that they have. So they're incredible units at the end of the day. It's just that some people, like myself, I'll put myself in that group, have a preference for one or the other. My preference was always towards the SAS, and I know a bunch of other people whose preference was always towards the SAS and not to the commandos. Then again, I know and have met some people that have made it to the commanders and they're like, yeah, I've found my people. This is where I'm meant to be and this is what I want to do. So hats off to them as well. So yeah, I don't think that's their last chance to get in. Well, it probably is their last chance to get into an SF unit, because those are the two in Australia, as far as I'm aware anyway. Then he carries on and says, I sort of understand it in regards to the former. If, for example, a young guy goes to SASR selection where he is in over his head fails selection, goes to the Commandos, gets a few years of SF experience with them, and then tries again. Did that kind of thing happen often? Um, Probably. I would say it still happens today, even though I've been out of there for a long, long time. There's a lot of, I suppose, things that probably don't change too much. The selection is, one of those things that's been tried, tested, and proven. So I don't imagine there'll be too much tweaking or changing or removing of things or adding of things. It's a system and a process that's worked and will continue to work. I'm not a fan of having the selection courses combined, not based on the premise of it will improve relationships between SASR and the commandos. I don't think that will be the case at all. But yeah, there's clearly more to it than what I know, and people with the opportunity to make those decisions have enacted that power, I suppose, for want of a better term, and made it so in Australia. So did that sort of thing happen? Yeah, plenty of people that go on selection still to this day, no matter where they are, go on selection. Some pass, maybe it's their first attempt and they pass and they go all the way through. Some people, they fail, go away, come back, go again. So you can do that anywhere. You can do that from within a infantry unit or from any unit really, um, and you don't have to have failed SASR selection in this case, go to commandos, pass there, do a few years under your belt, and then go to SASR selection. Like, yeah, that's an option, but that option can happen anywhere, regardless of which corps or unit you come from. Hopefully that helps answer your question. Thanks for the comments and the questions within that. This next one. This one has been sent to me through IG with a link to Harry Moffat's post. And the person's got here, what are your thoughts on Harry Moffat's comment/post on Instagram about Andrew Hastie? So I didn't know anything about this until I read it. And I've had a bit of a read down through some of the comments and stuff. And then I've read Moff's follow-up, which I didn't put in here, but I thought it was quite funny. Typical of him as well. Good sense of humor, very measured and mature guy is Harry Moffat, and just a good man. So anyway, this is what he's got. He says here, so this is Harry Moffat in his post saying, Andrew Bolt captures the situation perfectly. Take a listen, link below. So I haven't listened to that, and I haven't clicked on the link, so I probably need to go back to that. But that wasn't the question that I was asked. It was more about Harry Moffat's comments in his post. And Moff goes on to say, Andrew Hastie MP was one of the most accountable and morally strong officers I served with. So for me, that says a lot. I've shared my thoughts and opinions of Andrew Hastie, and I've openly said I think he's a ball bag, and that was in relation to the not having worked with him, but that was in relation to I did a reaction video to him testifying against Ben Roberts-Smith, and why he was subpoenaed or ordered, commanded to go to court and testify against Ben Roberts-Smith or testify in the Ben Roberts-Smith defamation case, which RS brought against the ABC. I don't know, because I don't know why Andrew was brought in, because he didn't witness anything, wasn't a part of anything, and he was told some things by guys that he knew, I assume members of his cohort from his selection and cycle, who told him that RS was a bully. So Andrew didn't witness any of that, and who then, I believe, told him again, these other guys, friends of Andrew's, who then told Andrew that RS were committed war crimes or whatever. So Andrew didn't see anything, didn't hear anything, wasn't a part of anything. What he did hear was second or third hand information from, guys that I assumed that he knew and that he was friends with. And then the other part that put me off Andrew, why I called him a ball bag, was in and around his comments saying that RS treated him like a scumbag on selection, like he had nothing to do with RS other than his time on selection, where he felt that RS treated him like a scumbag. And I shared my thoughts about that. If you're an officer on selection, be prepared to be treated like a scumbag. All right, I just give you the tip. Don't go there expecting to have your hand held or to be saluted or spoken to nicely or or complimented or encouraged about what a great job you're doing. Like nobody gets that. And I'd like to think Andrew wasn't expecting that. I'd like to think he was probably mindful of this is going to suck, and to make it even more suckier. But the fact that I'm an officer, or the fact that he's an officer, is probably going to be worse. So that is why there is an extra piece of officer testing at the end of a selection. Selection's over for the rest of us plebs, the rest of us other ranks or ORs, but the officers have got some extra work to do. And there's an officer testing portion tacked on to the end, or it used to be tacked on to the end of the selection, where they do, a couple more days, 2 or 3 more days, in addition to what they've already been through. And I've openly shared that officers get it harder in terms of the selection. So if you felt like you've been treated like a scumbag on selection, and if you're an officer preparing to go on selection, just expect that. Like, don't get your undies in a twist over it when it happens. Yeah, that's just the case. Anyway, why did I say this says a lot? Coming from Moff, from my perspective. So Harry Moff speaks high. Well, in this sentence, Andrew Hastie MP was one of the most accountable and morally strong officers I served with. In there, says a lot from those two perspectives. I don't interpret Moff's comments as him saying that he thinks he hasn't come out and said, I think Andrew Hastie is a great guy, and because of X, Y, Z. He's kept it factual based on his observation and his personal experience of having worked with Andrew Hastie. So he says, again, was one of the most accountable and morally strong officers I served with, or he served with, that Moff served with. So cool. Well, that's Moff's opinion, and based on his lived experience, who am I to question or argue that with Moff? I wouldn't do that anyway. As was Peter Winnell, who is also being attacked. I don't know who Pete Winnell is. The name sounds familiar, but yeah, I don't know what that's from. I don't know if he served in the regiment or what. Maybe he did. Good leaders ask the tough questions and hold people to account. Yep, I think that's true. They also accept accountability too. They also accept being asked the tough questions, and when the shoe's on the other foot, so to speak, for them to be accountable for anything that they may or may not have done. That is all they are guilty of. Okay, so Moff is saying that's all. Looks like Andrew Hastie and Pete are guilty of, for asking tough questions and holding people to account. I don't know what this is in relation to, by the way. I don't know if this is in regards to the Ben Roberts-Smith defamation trial or not. And now faceless grifters, says Moff carrying on, and now faceless grifters and white feather journalists who are obviously getting bad int are making up rubbish to discredit them and their families. So, yeah, again, I don't know what this post from Moff is about. I don't. Are they getting attacked? Are they? Is Andrew Hastie and Pete? Are they being attacked by journalists? I don't know. There was no blood feud with Hastie. I have read that. I think I read that on Kyle Stefanovic's title of one of his videos, where he's interviewing bloody hell, what's his name? The guy that won the defamation case, Heston Russell. Far out. Senior moment. I think I saw that on one of Kyle Stefanovic's YouTube video titles, where he's interviewing Heston Russell, and it says in there that there was a blood feud between them. I think it says between them. I don't know if it specifically says between Hastie and RS, but I thought that was strange. I haven't seen or heard anything from people saying that there was some sort of blood feud. I don't even know what that means. There's a blood feud with Hastie, or there was no blood feud with Hastie, is what Moff is saying in here. And then he says more to follow. So that's all that's in that post. What was the question? What are my thoughts about it? My thoughts are, I have a great deal of respect for Harry Moffat. He's one of the most intelligent, articulate, measured individuals a person could ever meet. And it was a privilege to be on cycle with him for a while, after he had already been in, gone away, come back, and then I think he went to 2 Squadron while we were still finishing off our cycle. He just had to do some bits and pieces, but he's a good man. I interviewed him, well, since I've been back here in NZ, when I was doing the podcast with my brother-in-law via video link, and I interviewed his wife, Danielle, as well. Like, an awesome couple. What do I think about it? Well, Moff is speaking from a place of experience, first-hand lived experience and interactions with Andrew Hastie, and obviously this guy Pete as well, who like I said, the name sounds familiar, but I can't picture him or place him. I don't even know if he was in the unit. Maybe he was. And they're being attacked apparently by faceless grifters and white feather journalists. It's a hard case. You're always going to have the keyboard pop-ups that are going to spray their 2 cents all over the internet in the comments, and I just think it's funny. I get it on my channel and sometimes on my lives, and that will always be the case. So either carry on doing what you're doing because you enjoy doing what you're doing, which I do, and laugh about it, and then maybe have a comment or two or interact, or just disregard it and crack on doing what it is that you're doing, or stop because you let those faceless grifters he's got here get the better of you, and you end up going, oh yeah, I don't want to do this anymore. I'd like to think people didn't start doing what they're doing, whether it's on social media, regardless of your background or wherever it is that you come from or whatever it is that you do, because you wanted to try to please everybody, because that's just not going to happen. And clearly that hasn't been the case with regards to what's happened here. Do I still think Andrew Hastie's a ball bag? Yeah, personally I do. But again, that's coming from a place of I didn't know him personally, never worked with him. Going off what I've seen and heard, sounds like he doesn't seem to have. So Moff is probably one of the first guys that I know from the Australian Regiment that has come out and said anything positive about Andrew Hastie. As far as I know, there may be other guys out there, other ex-operators that speak positively about Andrew Hastie as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there are. Likely his mates that raised the concerns in the first place. They probably speak pretty highly of him. But again, I don't know who those guys are either. Moff, I do know. And his comments here, at least in this context of Andrew being one of the most accountable and morally strong officers that he served with, to me carries some weight. Anyway, it might not carry weight to others, but given what I know of Moff and the respect that I have for him, yeah, his comments carry some weight in that regard with regards to Andrew. Doesn't change my opinion of Andrew, and that's fine. I don't think Moff would hold that against me. If he does, oh well, too bad. But Moff is, like I said, he's articulate, intelligent, he's mature, and it's okay to have a different opinion of people. His is more based on his actual experience and time with Andrew versus mine. From a distance, what I've seen and heard, what I've listened to, and just the way Andrew comes across from what I have had a look at. And yeah, to me, I don't like it. I think he's a twat. But anyway, that's my thoughts. You asked for it, so that's what you get. What's this one? Next one. Hey, bro, when can we expect to see the next Reckoning event? Oh, that's a off topic. Next Reckoning event, you can expect to see one when people decide to sign up for it. There's been what came in as a massive wave and influx. I think there's videos that are on my channel here talking about it, where there's something like 20, 30 plus inquiries, people seemingly keen to participate in the Reckoning, and and then crickets, just dead silence. Surveys were filled out like 78% or whatever for different durations and things like that. Surprisingly, the longer durations over 5 days was selected versus I think 24, 36, 48, 72 or longer, or whatever it was. People choosing longer timeframes. Ended up putting up a 30-hour option. 7 people signed up, paid, and sadly, only 2 people rocked up. So to your question, when can we expect to see the next Reckoning event? You've only seen snippets and footage of the one and only Reckoning event to date. So it's not up to me when that happens. It's up to willing participants. So there doesn't seem to be any willing participants at this time. So I have no idea when that would happen, if it even happens again. Where are we? Let me just move this out of the way. Hi, Joe. I've been patiently waiting for more of your reaction videos to people's interviews. Have you got any coming up soon? Hey, thanks for that. They go on to say that there's some cool interviews that have been done on the Mic Drop podcast and the Tier 1 podcast recently with ex-UK SF and other people. So including, he's got here, which I haven't seen, but I've seen a short clip of, the Mic Drop podcast where he interviews Heston Russell as well. So yeah, I am aware of those podcasts and some of the interviews, not all of them, that you've mentioned. Thank you for patiently waiting, and thank you for your time and support on the channel and the comments that you make as well, and for this question that you've put through. Probably the ones that I've got coming up soon is more than likely the links that I was sent to the, I don't know if reenactment is the right word, but it's from the RS defamation case and witness testimonies that were given. There's The Guardian, I think it is, has done, I guess I'll use the word reenactment, where they've used readers to read exactly, I'm guessing, the transcript from those legal proceedings, questions from the lawyers to the witnesses. Obviously, it doesn't name the witnesses. And then whoever the characters are, or the actors that are reading the script, reading, from what I understand, word for word of what was said in the courtroom. So that one's coming up. There was some stuff that was sent to me. Oh, bloody hell! I've got them in the list anyway, in the YouTube React Later playlist on the channel. So there is quite a large list, including what was it? Including the blood. Oh, actually, let me just have a look. That's what I might as well do. Where's the watch later, react later list? SAS Are You Tough Enough series. I think that's a UK one. The Battlefield is a Very Lonely Place in the Ukraine. That's from the HR podcast. What's this one? I Wouldn't Change a Thing. I'd Go Through All That Suffering Again. Another HR podcast one. Special Forces Warrant Officer Matthew Hallier. Elite Podcast 45. Here's the Ben Robert Smith versus the Media Part 2, Death in Darwan Full Story podcast. So that's, oh yeah, so it's got on here the Guardian podcasts. Kyle Stefanovic. Oh yeah, this is it. Heston. It was a blood feud between Hasty and Ben Robert Smith. That's the title of this on the Kyle Stefanovic show. There's a whole list of videos and stuff down here. Swick stuff, making of an operator. So to your question, have you got anything coming up soon? I'll try and get onto getting some of that stuff up soon. But yeah, there's a massive list of videos that I haven't got to yet. But I'll be doing, because I enjoy them. Have just been a bit tied up at the moment, and so I thought I'd try and answer these questions here in this live. Where are we? Next one. Hey mate, would you please do a oh, here we go. Hey mate, would you please do a reaction video to Kevin Frost, ex-Australian SF, who raised war crime allegations but sadly committed suicide sometime after raising his allegations? Also, did you know Kevin? Working in reverse, no, I didn't know Kevin. I do recall seeing this. If it's the same one that I'm thinking of, this was quite a while ago, maybe a few years ago, that I saw this guy come out on social media or on the media and have his face and everything like fronting up to the camera. To me, in terms of that leadership, showing leadership and accountability on the back end of Harry Moffat's comment, what did he say? Good leaders ask tough questions and hold people to account. Also, good people, just good people in general. You don't have to be a leader, but good people in general ask tough questions, hold people to account. This guy, Kevin Frost, I don't know the details of what he was saying that he did or that he witnessed, but that has my respect. It takes a heck of a lot of courage to put yourself out there. If you're going to accuse people, this is just my take. If you're going to accuse people of committing war crimes, and you were there, you observed, witnessed, maybe you didn't physically carry out the war crime if it was murdering unarmed people or whatever, or detainees, depending on your ROE that you were given, right? So we won't get into that, but Scott Jones has spoken on the Two Worlds Collide podcast about the type of ROE, the offensive ROE that they were working on, the kill capture ROE 429 alpha, if I remember rightly. Don't quote me on that. That part might be wrong, but a massively offensive ROE, to kill or to capture, and whereby he spoke about they could have been asleep, they could have been out in the field, but at all times they were posing an active threat against the coalition forces. So under that ROE, they were within their rights to, neutralize the threat. Anyway, I digress. But this guy, Kevin Frost, if it's the same guy, and I'm pretty sure it is, that I remember seeing bits and pieces of, I never sat down, never did a reaction to it. I watched bits and pieces, but didn't sit and watch his interview in full. Says a lot about the guy. Sadly, tragically, if that is what's happened, he's got here, but sadly committed suicide sometime after raising his allegations. Yeah, like, that's sad in and of itself, eh? Like, credit to him for raising the concern and the allegations, and if he's taken ownership for his part in it, for either actively participating in and or knowing about it but not doing anything about it, and he's holding himself to account as well. Like, massive respect to him. It's a shame that he's not still around to see that through. In terms of if there are further allegations that need to be investigated or whatever. But can I add it to the reaction video stockpile? Yeah, sure. Excuse me. It may actually already be one of the videos on the list already. Like, the list is huge in terms of what I've got. So I've probably got more than a year's worth of reactions. I'd probably say more than that, just based on how long it would take me to chunk and go through those anyway. But yeah, I can add that to the list. And this last one here, love your podcast, Joe. When are you going to start doing interviews with people on your show? I laugh because thank you for the comment. I suppose because this channel isn't really a podcast. Could it be a podcast? Yeah, I suppose it could be. But yeah, I look at the podcasts like what's the name? Combat Story, Sean Ryan Show, Joe Rogan Experience, the Tier One podcast, the Anti-Hero podcast, which I think is what it was called before, where Brent Tucker was before he's branched out and created his own, the Tier One podcast. A whole bunch of actual podcasts that are podcasts versus my little space here on YouTube. But thank you for the comment. When are you going to start doing interviews with people on your show? Show is a big term. I don't know that I'd call my YouTube channel a show, but yeah, spoken about that on a whole bunch of other videos. So anybody that's followed for a while, it'd be great to do some interviews with people. But yeah, I would do those in person, not looking at or interested in doing them online or via distance. So anyway, that's my take on that. Where are we? Oh, sorry, peeps. At TBD20. Kia ora, Joe. Kia ora, bro. Paul, I recall NCOs running the show in 126. Officers had to be very good to be in the unit. Yeah, 100%, Paul. Yep. And I have received your comms as well. Thank you, mate. I will get back to you especially the most recent one that you sent to, what's this one? At Club ADEBISI. Hi there, I've been watching your reaction videos. Oh, thanks for that. There is an essays video from the 80s that I'd like you to react to. Send it through, bro. It may be one that I might have already done, but feel free to send it through if you like. The Royal Marine, Arctic, and Mountain Warfare Carter reaction videos are the best. Thanks for that. Yeah, I enjoyed doing those, that reaction video. I forget the name of the person who sent that through to me, but yeah, really insightful, seeing that stuff, and having a bit of getting a bit of an insight, I should say, in terms of what they do. But that's it for these questions that have come through. Thank you to those that have stopped by. Oh, sorry, Paul, I missed your first one. Morning, Joe. Good to see you live, mate. Thank you for stopping by. Yeah, that's it for the questions that have come through. Hopefully, I've answered those. Well, I've answered them as well as I can based on what's come through anyway. So reaction videos, I'll look to do some more of those. Podcasts. Thank you for the the comment about the podcast. I don't know that I'd call this channel a podcast, but appreciate the comments and the time that you spent here. Where are we? NZ SAS is the best. The last live I did, I'm laughing because the last live I did, there was I forget his handle, or I say his, may not have been, might have just been a bot saying that NZ Defence Force, NZSAS is rubbish and words to that effect, blah blah blah. They put on there and then they dropped off. But they found time in their schedule to stop by one of my lives and drop their comments. But yeah, hey, they have a extremely strong and well deserved reputation, as do all of the units. But yeah, NZ for its size and limited resources in terms of what it has, it's got some incredible people that are there, that serve there, and that continue to serve there, and that will serve there in the future at some point. So yeah, they've definitely earned their reputation. But again, taking nothing away from the founding fathers in terms of the UK and the trailblazers that they are, the pioneers in terms of that space and what they've created and what they've enabled other units to do. I think I heard Brent Tucker talking specifically, and he's been open about it. Brent Tucker, ex-Delta Force guy, acknowledging that the Delta Force came about through Tutu SAS, and how I think it's Charlie Beckwith, the founder of the Delta Force in the US, how he went to the UK, I believe, did the UK selection, UKSF selection, and yeah, and then saw that and thought, let's do this here. This is what we need in the States, and now look at it. It's highly regarded, is what I could say. And then there's been other people. I think Lewis Bucky Burris, apologies if I got the name wrong, another American guy who I think was one of the early, or one of the first guys, along with Charlie Beckwith, in the US Delta Force unit. So yeah, UK's got a massive legacy and highly regarded, respected in and of itself. And I like the US. I like the way the US adopted it. If it ain't broke, don't try and fix it. It works. It's tried. It's tested. It's proven. New Zealand has got its own process for selection and cycle, and Australia's got its own process for selection and cycle. I've been asked that question too. Don't I think that New Zealand and Australia should have just kept the same model and structure as the UK for their selection process and go through it that way, just like the Americans did? Maybe, but clearly they didn't, and their process for their respective units works, and it's worked for a very long time, and I assume that it will continue working for a very long time. So yeah, but can't take anything away from what the UK has established and inspired, I should say, inspired around the world. Best trackers, NZSAS has a legacy also. Yeah, all of the units do. Yeah, all of them have got a massive legacy, but take nothing away. I personally take nothing away from the fact that it's stemmed by and large from what the UK developed. It's started working on. And yeah, New Zealand has a massive and proud legacy. Australia, likewise, the Anzacs, America, and yeah, all of those coalition forces. So it's pretty cool. Yeah, Willie, yeah, good guy. Yeah, legend, all right. Man, appreciate the time that people have stopped by. I did not expect anybody to be on this live. Thought people would be busy doing their stuff. So, but I thought once I finished answering those questions, I'd just come and check, because I have been guilty. Apologies to those. I have been guilty in the past of just closing off a live, not checking and seeing the fact that there were actually some comments in the chat. So thank yous all. Maybe I'll type that in here. Thank yous all for stopping by and commenting. Whack that in there. Oh, did that send? Oh, it's got me down as Joseph. Usually only called Joseph if I'm in trouble from my mum. But anyway, have an awesome rest of your day, people. Enjoy whatever it is you're doing, whatever it is that you do. And thank you for your time and support and comments on here once again. So until the next one, I'll see you next time. Oh, that was a rubbish mana wave. There's my usual mana wave that I do there. All right, I'll see you, Zay. Ka kits. Cheers to you too.